Hi, hello. So, we have the new runner event coming up later today, and rather than go through this event as it's ongoing, I thought that we would go through some preparatory steps in order to get yourself ready for the runner event, because just like most events in this game, mainly like Puzzle and Runner, Heroic Race, you will do better if you prepare beforehand for this event to come up. And if you want to know how we know that this is coming up, it's actually in your newsfeed for the House of Lords event, and it says that the runner event is going from October 11th to 15th, and it is currently October 11th. So in a few hours time, we will have the new Duo Demand Dragon in game. And so if you want to know which dragon this is, he is part of the current collection, but we will have him along with, of course, the other duo dragons that we've had. So we had Duo Disarm, we had Unfaithful, and now we have Duo Demand, who's going to be coming in the runner event, who has Double Legend and his little birdie follower. But for runner events themselves, I actually highly recommend using the List website for runner events, because they have a very useful set of resources on there for runner events in particular. And mainly, if you look at this page right here with me, actually, can we zoom in a little bit more? There we go. It shows you the reward dragon, but then it shows you the upcoming mission set. And this is really handy, because it means that we know exactly what is coming up in the runner event, and we can essentially prepare ourselves beforehand. And so the first mission set that we're going to get is going to be one set of collecting food, which is going to be easy peasy. We're going to have 6 lots of feeding dragons, which is also easy peasy because you can feed up a level 1 dragon. And then we have breed dragons, and this quest in particular, and any of the battling quests, the league battles quests, are the ones really that you really need to be prepared for, along with hatching eggs. And so since we have this first quest here of breeding dragons coming up, that means that in 4.5 hours time, you need to either have your breeding dens completely free so that you can start breeding Terra and Terra dragons, or you need to have pre-breeds happening so that then you will immediately at least get an item. But that means that you will, like, if you've got long breeds that you've done, such as myself here, then you'll need at least a few more slots in your breeding den, because you're going to need to breed at least 4 sets of dragons that give you points. So what you can do, you could say pop in these 2 breeding dens here. You know, if you've got a long breed that's happened, make sure you've got like at least 4 slots free in your hatchery. And then you can, after you've done these first 2 breeds, you can just do Terra and Terra breeds, because that is, of course, the breeding combination that we always use for these little dragons. You know, I'd always recommend trying to keep the closest 2 breeding dens to your hatchery free if you can. It just makes it easier. But if you are stuck and you've only got 1 breeding den left, the only thing that you need to be breeding for this quest is going to be non-empowered Terra and Terra dragons. It is the same as Heroic Races, and for pretty much every single breeding event in the game, just get 2 non-empowered Terras, breed them together, and then you keep breeding them until you get the item. So that is what you can do if you do not have any pre-breeds or enough hatchery slots available to be able to do that. But make sure that you are prepared in terms of your breeding stuff. With the collecting food, you can use the shortest food timer items, or what you can do, like me, you can save your 1-day food. And if you do this, then during the quest, like, we're only going to be asked to collect 1 set of food for the first time, but then later on, like for the second set of quests that we're going to have collect food times 7. So the first one is collect food times 1, and then the next one is collect food times 7. And so just leave your 1-day food farms there. I know it's not super going to be efficient if you do it that way, but it does mean that it's going to require 0 effort on your part to actually have to bother collecting food. So you can speed up the whole collecting food process if you've done some pre-food placement, I guess I should say. You could have also put in the 12-hour foods for this, but since you only need to do 1 collect food, what you could do is you could just say have like 7 open farms at the moment that you just put the shortest timer food in, and then put 1-day foods in the others, and then you'll be prepared for the next set of collecting food. So do it however you prefer. I'm going to do it the nice and lazy way and just leave them there for now until the event comes up. The other one, like I mentioned, to be wary of is hatching eggs, and it's going to be the exact same thing with hatching eggs when they come up. If you know that hatching eggs quest is coming up, you can save any of your long timer eggs, like with Pure Dragon here or with Angelic Eternal, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually just going to hatch this Angelic Eternal. It is a duplicate, but I was just going to maybe rank up this little boy a little bit and then just recall him, get the orbs back, and then trade them is probably what I'm going to be doing with little Angelic Eternal here. So I'm just going to get him leveled up a little bit. We did get him out of the big Eternal chest, which was slightly disappointing that we got him too late for his quest. But, you know, we already had the basic Angelic Eternal, so we still got most of the quests done. Like, if you look here, we got most of these quests done, the early stages, and I used a lot of his orbs to trade off for other dragons. If I'd have known I would have got a duplicate, maybe I wouldn't, but oh well, what's done is done. So, like I mentioned, hatching eggs quests. If you don't have any breeds that have created any eggs, then you can just go in and pop in some War Dragon eggs in advance, because the first hatching eggs quest we're going to get is after 12 hours. So you can easily pop in some War Dragon eggs if you want to, and then, you know, have those prepared. But of course, make sure you've got enough hatchery slots for the breeding quest as well. So bear all of that in mind. But War Dragon eggs, even though it's not a guaranteed item, it's very close to guaranteed, so it can just save you a lot of time if you put in the War Dragon eggs in advance. And so the only other one to be mindful of is league battles, and I will mention that you should be very mindful of these, because the first league battle set that we're going to get is in 20 hours time. But the reason why this may prove a problem is because we currently have an alliance chest on for doing league battles, and so it's going to be very, very easy for you to just do your league battles and then realize, oh damn, I needed to do those for the runner event, but I've literally just used them. So even though we have the alliance chest on, and obviously you should be trying to do as many league battles as physically possible, speaking of which, I'm going to do the rest of my 3 since I just got a reset on this. Make sure that once you know that a league battle set is coming up, which again, the website will show you this, make sure that you at least save it for the upcoming reset. Because again, I know we all love to try our best to do as well as we can in the alliance chest, because you know the rewards are super, super good, super, super spicy. We want all of those rewards, I know. But make sure you are still doing your runner event quests, because you might as well just 2 birds, 1 stone. No reason to only do one of them, might as well do both at once. So these are just the main things to be mindful of in the runner event. And then the other thing that I will mention with runner event is that using all of the runner event currency takes a lot of time. And by a lot of time, I mean that if you sit there and you just save up all of your runner event currency until the last minute, it will probably take you about 2 hours to use it. So even though with these runner events, you know, they're going to last a few days, it's going to last 4 days, for instance. So if you save it all up until the 4th day, you're going to need to set aside at least like a couple of hours to be safe to use all of the currency that you've collected, assuming that, you know, you collect 100% of the runner stamps from every single reset, which you'll need to really if you want to get all of the really good rewards from the runner event. But make sure you set aside the time. I actually highly recommend for runner events in particular to use your currency as you're going through the event, because I find personally that using your currency, you know, bit by bit by bit feels a lot less draining than just sitting there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just trying to do all of it at once. Maybe that's just me. But, you know, even though I'm actually a big fan of runner events, I think they're very rewarding events, and I think that the runner event in general, at least it's some sort of skill-based event compared to every other event in the game. But at the same time, doing that many runs back to back to back is incredibly draining. So that would be my advice, to just, you know, do them over time, small steps each reset if you've got a few spare minutes each time. And I think you will thank yourself for it if you do it like that, rather than saving it all just to one day. But at the end of the day, everything that you do in this game is up to you, whether you want to be a collector or a battler, whether you want to be a last minute Liam, your choice. But there are certain things that you can do to make things slightly less annoying as you go through these events. That's why 1 day food, pre-breeding, pre-hatching, all of that stuff will make your life so much easier during these events. And then rather than people going, oh my god, it's so boring breeding terrors, well, sometimes you'll only have to do a little bit of terror breeding. These two whores may not have to be very whorish depending on how much you prepare. But anyway, those are the preparatory steps for the upcoming runner event. We don't really have too much else going on apart from the maze event. And if you're wondering where I'm at in terms of the puzzle and maze event, we got up to here in the puzzle event. So, you know, we got Unfaithful, we got all of this stuff done. We've got a 5 set there, which we'll probably get some currency for very soon, and we can at least see everything explode once. And then in the maze event, currently I am on this path right here, and we can move on to the Grinchy path, because since there's no new dragon in the maze event and everyone's got different maze event dragons, we might as well go and get the heroic trade essence. So that's honestly one of the main reasons I'm on this path, along with the extra insignias, the extra event items. But you know, we've still got 5 days left, and we will also have the runner event path opening up, because of course when the runner event begins, we will get the runner event path opening up in this event as well. So that is another thing to be mindful of. It is possible to get the rewards out of the runner event without having to go down this runner flight stamp path, just so that you're aware. But if you want to really hard grind the runner event and get every single reward possible, you can get additional flight stamps from this blue path. Granted, it's not actually a ton of flight stamps grand total, but it is still some extra flight stamps that could be the difference between you getting the XL food boxes, all of them in the doable part or not. It could be the difference between you getting an extra event item, which means that you get to finish off part of the collection. So yeah, I would say if you are looking to do as well as you possibly can, save it up. Of course, we do have the ongoing food path at the moment, where if you did want the food path, you would have had to have spent your currency like now. But, you know, maybe you didn't go down the food path. I didn't, and I'm not going to. So there is that as well. But that's where we've been up to with all this stuff. So nothing else too crazy happening for now. I know that there's leaks and that coming out for things, but I'm going to wait to talk about those until we actually see them in game. It's not going to be too long to wait now. But I guess for now, get ready for the new boy, and until next time, ciao.